around. You
Hey, welcome to another Mad Chats and Recaps with myself and Tasha. We are here
Hi.
again. Yes. Well, that was great. I mean,
That was.
chef's kiss.
Oh, so good. So good.
um, we are here for the recaps for the week of March the 6th through March the 12th of 2023. And as always, we will start with, as always up to this point, this might be the last week. Well, no, I guess this might be the last week for the Forsaken. We'll see. So, for the recap for last week on the Forsaken, as the group wrapped up their moments of respite on the outskirts of Cheth Rhinn, Lashta's soldiers continued their fight within the city, warding off any possible zealots to the Great One that may try to intrude. With a final farewell, our Forsaken make their way into the lair of the Great One, a huge cavern at the back of the Underdark city, and become slowly overtaken with the gravity of their journey and the fight that is to come. Time seems to slow for adventurers as they journey forward, battles of the past echoing around them and the afterglow of spells cast centuries ago lighting their way. Just as everything becomes too much, or it starts to become too much, they arrive. A threshold of dead mages, empty vials, and dog crystals lay scattered, leading to a large human yet godlike creature with a human body and wings made of arms and hands. It dismissively spoke into their minds before raising the first pillar, the first of the three mentioned in the tome that Kazil had showed them. They raced to stop them, counterspelling one and destroying the other two, all while ghosts attempted to possess them. The Great One cast spells and revealed hidden eyes in its forehead, stomach, and winged arms that shot beams of disintegration, fear, and more. Despite all these challenges, they make it through the first part of the battle. Let's see if they can make it through to the end.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, so they did what they needed to do last week within the time they needed to do it. Now it's
Good.
just beating up the Great One until they die.
Until the day.
So I will say that the Great One, now that the pillars are taken care of, has some things up their sleeves. They're mini sleeves, but that it could be a little dicey. So yay.
Interesting.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
good luck. Oh, I'm nervous for y'all.
But if they make it through, then if they beat the Great One tonight, and there's still some time left for like, here's what happens afterwards. They could be done tonight. Either be tonight or next week. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But what happened? Speaking of trauma, what happened last week on Sundered Fate, Tasha? Tell us.
I'm now dubbing Tuesdays Trauma Tuesdays
Mm-hmm.
because that's all it's been. So, um, thanks to the quick thinking of Tuna, Dia and Feora had their memories of their time in the Feywild restored.
Mm.
They all began their trek back across Crestwood Valley, safely and relatively uneventful. That is until the fifth day when they heard cries for help. I'm just going to stop trusting anything that's happening in this world now. So Dia and Ladrin, because I'm dumb, raced toward the cries with Feora. Wait, no, I didn't. No, Dia and Tuna. That was what it
Okay.
was. Raced toward the cries with Feora stealthing behind and Ladrin leaping up onto her broom. They came to a clearing where they found a troop of travelers Several lay slain on the ground, at least 5, while one still lived, though their wound seemed grievous. Tuna offered aid, and Dia set off to investigate, just as a creature's hand reached out of a corpse to grab Dia. Thankfully, Feora's new weapon of warning gave them all enough time to react. A deadly battle ensued, their enemies unrelenting and necrotic type attacks, and our heroes never yielding. Until Tuna and Dia fell unconscious. Both were swiftly returned to hell. That did not ease the panic, though, as the enemies continued their onslaught. Tuna was taken down again and gasped their last breath. Their friends watching on in horror. Barely surviving, they managed to finish off the rest of the attackers. Then, giving more than magic, but of their very vitality, Dia and Ladrin combined their magics to perform a revivification. Without a proper crystal, Dia offered up her newly acquired headband of intellect, citing the diamonds which adorn it, despite how attached and excited for it she was. Truly, Tuna meant far more to Dia, but also, I think, the rest of us too. With the voices of their friends calling to them, Tuna returned via the spell. And with Tuna and Dia totally exhausted, like 5 points of exhaustion, it was the worst time for the archfey known as Nathrana to arrive and poke about their minds. It was very unsettling. Nathrana has Gregory now, and I'm upset.
Wow.
So I love D&D.
That's a lot. It's a lot. Yep. I was only like watching for a half hour, and I was like, oof, this need a drink.
Stressful.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that everyone's alive as of right now.
Just can't move.
And we'll see what happens this week. So, on In Extremis on Saturday, with our crew still split, those in the Dream Realm continued their mission, resolving the wizard's dream would both aid their new friend Ghost and allow them access to the Dream Heart Tempest, the eye of which held the Everbloom, which they seek. Of course, nothing is simple, and our dreamers found themselves past the beach and out into the water searching for anything that stood out. Several large clamshells did exactly that, and they were protected by giant sharks. Our dreamers battled the sharks while prying open the clams in search of a pearl until they ultimately found one. Racing back to the shore, they turned in the pearl, only to have the wizard learn more from their battle with the sharks, allowing him to complete his work on his spell and thereby resolve the dream. Ghost said goodbye, and our dreamers pushed on through the terrible tempest of primal energies, barely making it to the eye of the tempest. Once inside, and with Cassius and Ashvar revived, they find an Everbloom patch and take 2. Then, with a little difficulty, return to the waking world, only to find someone new with a notebook hovering over them and taking their vitals. Which was Lily's character. So, not a baddie, just, someone someone they didn't recognize. So, yeah, groups back together. We're no longer a split party that we have been for the past 3 sessions. So I'm super excited about that. We'll see what happens.
That's amazing.
Yay. So that's it for the recaps. As far as announcements go, we don't really have too much. For our Patreon supporters, we have our Patreon movie night this week. And if you're not a Patreon supporter, what are you doing? $20 and up tier is what gets you the movie nights once a month. Check out our merch store on our website at madbirdstreams.com. And we should have, check out our newest campaign, Sundered Fate, which obviously exciting things are happening on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So it's a little bit different than the other campaigns. And then soon, within like the next 6 to 7 weeks, I think, we should have a campaign on Fridays again. That'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So super excited for that. No birthdays this
Yeah.
week. If your birthday is this week and we've missed it, happy birthday. Hopefully it's a good one. And that's all we have. So we'll see you on Twitch. We'll see you in Discord. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Oh.
transitions just did not work that time. Welcome
Hi.
to the Forsaken. So glad to have you here. Sorry I had to cut the little intro video short, but we were a minute past the time that we should have started. So,
Heresy.
We are the intro video.
Great. Now Madbird Streams is complaining that there wasn't enough banter in the. Listen, if there was any more banter, I wouldn't have gotten this thing started a minute after 7.
Banter?
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Banter.
in the recap,
Oh.
Madbird Streams thinks there wasn't enough banter in there.
Mm.
We are professionals, yes. All right. So, why don't again, welcome to the Forsaken. We are so glad to have you in what could be the final episode. We'll see. If not this week, then next week. So, yep. So if my lovely players wouldn't mind rolling a d20 for me for your inspiration, I will get the music started here. So I can remember which one.
Shut up, Jonathan.
What? Oh, what?
See, now you drew attention to it, Mason.
I'll knock it
Wait,
off.
Wait, what did
What?
Jonathan say? Where was it?
He's just good. TPK. TPK.
Oh.
No, shut up. Shut up.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right.
Noble death.
Goodness. I
Or
don't know.
positive energy.
I'm
you know,
not
we
ready.
shall defeat. Come on, man.
I'm not.
I can
ready
be
for
positive
this
in death.
tonight.
It's fine. Yeah.
I'm a robot named Asleep.
So let's cover our rolls, inspiration rolls here. So Zavar rolled a 1. Nice to get that out now. And chat, let me know if you can't hear any music, because I want you to. Eventually, at least for the battle part. Tegan rolled an 8. Michelle rolled an 8. Well, Juniper rolled an 8. AKA Asleep rolled a 14, and Rhaenyra rolled a 2. Who's the closest? Well, I think that's going to be Asleep. Well, I tell you what, Jonathan, you got it. You can use it for Asleep or Kazeel, either one, since you're running Kazeel as well.
Asleep is getting it. I ain't giving nothing.
Wow. But yeah, I rolled an 18, so that was the closest one. What music? Okay. Let me turn up the music just a tad bit. Alright, let me know if that's too loud, if you can't hear that. That's good. Okay, cool beans. Alright. Let's get into the recap for last session here. So for the last episode 133, as the group wrapped up their moments of respite on the outskirts of Cheth Rhinn, Lashta's soldiers continued their fight within the city, warding off any possible zealots to the Great One that may try to intrude. With a final farewell, our Forsaken make their way into the lair of the Great One, a huge cavern at the back of the Underdark city, and become slowly overtaken with the gravity of their journey and the fight that is to come. Time seems to slow for our adventurers as they journey forward, battles of the past echoing around them and the afterglow of spells cast centuries ago lighting their way. Just as everything becomes too much, they arrive. A threshold of dead mages, empty vials and dull crystals lay scattered, leading to a large human yet godlike creature with a human body and wings made of arms and hands. It dismissively speaks into their minds before raising the first pillar, the first of the 3 mentioned in the tome that Gazelle presented to you. They race to stop them, counterspelling one and destroying the other 2, all while ghosts attempt to possess them. The Great One casts spells and reveals hidden eyes in its forehead, stomach, and winged arms that shoot beams of disintegration, fear, and more. Despite all of these challenges, they make it through the first part of the battle. Let's see if they can make it through to the end. And that's from last week on the Forsaken. And I did not hit continue on this. Okay. Alright, friends. So, let me pull up something really quick that I realized I do not have put up here. I obviously cannot multitask this evening. It's fun. Wait, that's exactly what I needed. Okay. Alright. Oh, wait a minute, did I... Let me refresh chat then. I don't think it's refreshing for me. Okay. Alright. So, just to set the scene here. Oh, my battle cam isn't up. Oh, that's because I first set it up in Streamlabs. Yes. Correct. Okay, let me fix this really quick. Not that one. This one. Watch it decide not to work. That's cool. That's fine. That's okay. We don't need it. It's just the battle cam for those watching. It's all right. What do we need that for?
It'd be nice. But, you know.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. Let me just reset something. Y'all be entertaining.
Yeah, okay. Hey, Jonathan.
Yes.
Did you know that Madbird Streams has a Patreon?
What?
Yeah, I was just looking at that. Do you
I
know
can't believe
if
that.
they do anything interesting for their patrons?
You know, I bet they do some amazing movie nights like they do this Wednesday, where we're probably gonna watch a Brendan Fraser movie and maybe something else. We don't know. Congratulations, Brendan Fraser, on your Oscar. We know you watched Bad Bird. You know, if you ever want to play with us in a game, you know.
Claims made by Jonathan do not necessarily reflect the.
Yeah. You don't know. You don't know. We don't know.
I mean, I'm sure the open invitation is there.
I will move heaven and earth to do a honey heist with Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
I'll let you be any kind of bear you want.
Oh.
You have to roll for it.
Hey, look, a battle cam.
The battle cam's here.
Huzzah.
Anyways, Patreon.
With my position in a way to where you can see. Oh no, Stephanie's in the battle.
Oh, the mirror. Controlling everything.
It's
from
Dee
the
looking
portal.
down on the.
Yes.
She's been the great one
we
all
see-
along.
If we stare into the mirror too long, our nose starts to bleed.
Yeah.
What is this?
That mirror seemed like such a good idea.
All right, friends. Let me put this over here. All right. Well, that. As y'all are standing here, facing the Great One, who y'all successfully took out the pillars last week, that the tome had told you to. It was a bit arduous, but, you had a clever counterspell. And the Great One seemed very upset, rightfully so, that you had foiled that part of his plan. Because as the tome said, that's part of what helped him kind of regenerate the world, to start things over, to start this cycle. After the pillars were gone, he seemed to kind of up his ante a bit. Started bringing in more rays from his hands towards you, with the symbolic eye that you had seen so many times in the past in reference to the Great One in the library. As he kind of came down from his floating state and came within feet of all of you, you kind of got an impression of just the power that this creature that was once Bastille, Rhaenyra's grandfather, had built up over the years. It wasn't, not too huge of a creature, but just anyone with any kind of proficiency in Arcana can sense just the aura of magic emanating from him. Like, probably for those proficient in Arcana, it's probably a little difficult to even concentrate certain times, just because there's so much magic in the air and even conflicting with your own magical abilities. The spirits of the mages from battles past still kind of in their own illusionary battles above you and surrounding you and all over this huge space that was once a cavern that you walked into, but has now kind of turned into something else. You see these little kind of, you still see those almost like rifts throughout the space, showing you other places that you had seen, some you had not seen. And still behind the Great One stands this kind of mirrored portal-like door that you don't really see a use to, but just seems to be there. Maybe somehow serving his ability or serving the purpose of this whole thing. I mean, not the purpose, but just to kind of amplify that. But, all of this magic and power is coming from the Great One themselves. As they get closer to you, and you move around the floor with this kind of black sand crunching underneath your boots. I know so far, I'll go around the board here just to point out everyone. Everyone's on the map except for Tegan, who is over there. So I can actually position this a little bit better for y'all. And before I forget, that is north. No, it's not north, Stephanie. You idiot. Like how y'all were
I
so
think that was north
silent.
last
Well, I
week.
mean, that was.
Y'all were so
If that's where
silent.
you,
week,
that's
and
if that's
so-
where you want north to be, that's where north is. Yeah.
That's
we don't
north.
argue with the DM on
Yeah.
end day.
I learned that lesson many times.
Yeah.
Rhinn and Steffi. So you have Tegan, who's in the back there, who is kind of inside this green magical cube. Let's see here. Yes. You have Rhaenyra, who is here. Rhaenyra, you are currently frightened. And Kazil is here, who is grappled by the hands reaching up from the floor and has him by the ankles. Zavar's here. Asleep is here. Juniper, you are over here. And of course the Great One is here. As we get this over here. Alright. I know why I have that up. I don't really need that right now. And we start off at the top of the 5th round. Again, pillars are all gone. As we start this round, the Great One it kind of has the one hand stretched out with that anti-magic cone that was around here. For those watching on camera, was around here. He'll shift that hand, and you can tell, especially you, Rhaenyra, can suddenly tell that the anti-magic cone seems to be more towards you. And so the red markings here, of course, represent where that anti-magic cone is currently. So as that hand moves to move that anti-magic cone, you have another hand that is faced towards Tegan in the back that has that green kind of cage block around you of magic. Another one of his arms will kind of raise up to the ceiling. And he'll just kind of look at all of you and smirk. You'll hear kind of echoing through your minds. I know Rhaenyra is. Who else is proficient in Arcana besides Rhaenyra? I keep forgetting. Is it just Kazil?
Yeah, Kazil is, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Rhaenyra and Kazil would kind of, as he raises his hand, the palm of it starts to glow this kind of deep purplish red energy. It seems like something that's more innate than him casting a spell currently. And in fact, Rhaenyra and Kazil would notice that it almost seems like the air above that hand seems to almost freeze of sorts. Like any kind of particles floating through the air, they'll get to that space, into this like ball of invisible energy above his upstretched hand. And the particles will just kind of like slow to a stop. It's definitely a different atmosphere in that part than it is anywhere else in the cavern, even with all of these different things happening. Rhaenyra and Kazil would recognize that this seems to be, again, some kind of innate ability. And Rhaenyra especially, you kind of get the sense that you have a limited amount of time. This is something that you're going to have to kill him to get to stop. And whatever that power, like even as you're watching it, you can kind of see this kind of invisible, magical kind of area above his hand grow ever so slightly and grow. So you know that you have a limited amount of time to stop him, to kill him. And as a DM, I would tell you, probably you would estimate the time it would take about 3 rounds.
So I will relay that to everyone. We need to finish this quicker. Telepathically, because, yeah.
Sure, yeah. So as that starts out, and he's moved this anti-magic cone from before. Let's see here. Just reading a couple things here, sorry. Okay. All right. Okay. So, he has 4 arms here. So with the other arm, he's going to point it out towards the group of you over here. And let me get dice out. And point it towards you, Zavar. Okay, did I write down what I've already done? I thought I did one last time, I don't remember. Okay. Okay. Actually, Hein, I actually have chat open. Hein, the characters, Dan actually painted. I painted the great one, which I'll try to remember to show the camera a little bit better when towards the end of the session. Zavar, as he points this hand and the eye opens up on it, you kind of can feel this ray kind of reaching out to you. Could you make a dexterity saving throw for me?
24.
24. You feel that you've thwarted off the ray, Zavar, as it kind of reaches out to you and almost gets to your face. You can kind of see one of your like loose hairs from your hair being pulled back. A loose hair just kind of almost just kind of wither right in front of you as it kind of hits that ray.
You don't need to get any older.
So that brings us to top of the round. We've already done that. Oh, we also have one of those too, which...
What are those?
What are those? Let me just look here. Oh yeah, why not? Why not? This will actually move. It will actually help him. Yeah. All of a sudden you feel kind of a time shift again around you. And you felt this before. And within the blink of an eye, you feel yourself transplaced in the battlefield.
No.
You cannot go any further than that. And Kazeel would actually be ungrappled now due to this move.
Yay! Thanks, Great One.
What a great guy.
Move over this way. And move over that way. You would move there. And Tegan. Yeah, I wouldn't see why not. You still have you still kind of like wink it back into open your eyes and you're still inside the cube, Tegan. But you definitely feel like you've kind of moved a bit on the battlefield.
Did you move Junie?
I did not move Juniper.
Okay.
Juniper. How can I forget?
You're right next to the great one.
Hey.
Oh, that would have been. Oh man. All right. Yeah, don't forget about your area of effects if you have any for your characters. Calling you Jonathan.
I literally put it in chat. I'm
I
keeping
know.
track.
I know. I'm just saying. Just so I can't say that I didn't remind you. I did.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, but you're welcome. All right. So that brings us to the top of the round, which is Rhaenyra, then Juniper, then Kazeel.
Wrong. You got it backwards again.
You're right. I did get it backwards again.
I was just gonna say.
Why? I see the number
I know-
ones
I know-
and twos, and I'm
yeah.
like, that's it. I even sat here and thought to myself, Stephanie, are you getting this right? Are you? No, Stephanie, you're right. This is good. This is you were okay. Okay. Jonathan is in the mirror.
I am.
All right. So that brings us to Zavar. I see why you wanted the thing flipped.
Maybe.
Zavar, then the Great One, and then Tegan.
All right.
Zavar,
I'm
you are
going
currently
to.
here. Can you see? Yeah, you can
Yes.
see.
Yes, I can. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Looks like it takes 40 feet for me to get to the Great One. I have 50 feet of movement.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go right to the square right in front of him. Staying within reach. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. It is punchy time.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Zen, so you just realized Kazeel looks like Jake Gyllenhaal. All right.
All right, Great One, feeling my great fists. And I'll get with a punchy. Oh, that's not so great. 12.
Does not hit.
All right, let's try again. 19.
19 just hits.
Phew. Okay. Wow. That is 5 points of bludgeoning damage. Well, unarmed strike damage.
Stunning blow.
So I think I will definitely spend a key point for Flurry of Blows.
Okay. How much damage was that you just did?
5.
Okay, thank you. And what type of damage again?
Bludgeoning.
Okay.
So.
A little bit of resistance there, I will say, but
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. 1 second. Two. Okay. So first one.
Okay.
That's a 26 to hit.
26 does hit, yes.
For 6 points of damage.
6 points of damage. Bludgeoning again, correct?
Yep. And one more. Ah, snap. That's a natural one for a total of 10.
10 to hit, right?
Yes.
Does not hit.
Okay. I will use my Drunken Master ability though, and I get to disengage, and I want to back away from the Great One.
Okay. Just 5 feet?
I've got an extra 10 feet, so I could go back 20 feet if you let me.
You can go back, yeah, I mean, you would have to go around, so you can go right there.
Perfect.
Okay. Sorry, I hit the thing and all my sand is just kind of...
So much
It's very
glitter.
Nice and random. Yeah.
Oh, it sleeps closer now. Oh no.
There you go.
Keep an eye on the mini. And that's it for Zivar.
Okay. That brings us to the Great One, and then Tegan, and then asleep. Let's see here. Oh yeah, he doesn't have that because of this. So the Great One. Does that? Okay, no. Alright. Let's see here. Oh, I thought I gave him that. That's weird. Okay. That's alright, because we have this. Okay. So the Great One is going to... you see kind of floating out of his pocket this talisman on this kind of like dark metal chain. And it kind of floats in front of him. And he... Okay. Kazeel, could you make a dexterity saving throw for me, please? Let me know
Kazeel.
what you rolled. Yeah, Kazeel. Dexterity saving throw.
That's me. Great Scott. I can't. I forget because it's been too long. I don't remember because it was excellent. Top of the morning to you. You said what was it again? Charisma.
Dexterity saving throw.
Oh, dexterity saving throw. That is amazing. 11.
Okay. I'm going to ask this once.
Oh no.
Does anyone in chat have anything that they would like to provide for Jonathan for Kazeel for this saving throw?
Wait. I feel like... Where is Kazeel on the map?
So Madbird said his channel runner died. Is that a thing, Madbird?
I mean, I guess you can say it is, right?
I like the options. D20, 10d8. This is good.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Could we let me check.
How often?
Jonathan has an inspiration that he's going to use on a sleep. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. What is the inspiration?
D12.
D12. I'll use my inspiration to save Kazeel.
Okay. All
Dan,
right.
you better be watching.
He is watching.
Actually, I don't know. Let's see what I roll first. I might get banned.
Okay.
That's a 12.
Nice.
You rolled a
So
12?
12 plus, yep. So 12 plus 11. 23.
23.
Okay. All right. So, all of you watch as this talisman that is floating in front of the Great One begins to glow. This bright, bright red. On the front of the talisman is this kind of skull, and the red seems to be glowing from the eyes and inside the open, sharp-toothed mouth. It gets brighter, and you start to hear, all of you seem to start to hear this kind of like rumble beneath you. It doesn't seem like the entire floor is moving, but Kazeel, when you would look over to Kazeel, you would see that a fissure starts opening up underneath him. And it just all of a sudden just splits apart. Kazeel, in this fissure, out from this fissure, is like this smoke and this more red light. Kazeel is able to jump out of the way just in time. Before, as it opens, it just shuts right back up. And it just kind of becomes this kind of rough floor once again. You would assume that Kazeel just narrowly escaped death.
Oi, that was close. Sorry, Dan.
Wow.
Close enough.
Noily.
I forget, was it Scottish or Irish? What was his accent?
It's clearly Australian now.
Yeah.
Rocky, I'm Kazeel. What you Sheila's doing out here?
Zavar. Yes, it would, but you need to remember that when you're punching. Okay.
Yeah. I think I didn't know that when you said that it felt like there was resistance. So for next time.
Okay. Arbane was Australian. Mm-hmm. All right. So I think that is all. I think that's an. That was an action for them, I think. Okay. Oh yeah, this is fun. Asleep, would you make a strength saving throw for me, please?
What? I was doing good today. What did I say? Strength saving throw?
Yeah, strength saving throw, please.
Math. 21.
Nice.
21. All right. You feel like the Great One kind of looks at you, and you can feel yourself kind of like that you're being pulled forward a bit, but you're able to resist.
He's doing the like dancing, like
Yes.
reel me in on the dance floor.
So Tegan, that brings us to you, and then Asleep, and then what are you? Oh yeah. Tegan, Asleep, and then Kazeel. Tegan. Now, just to remind everyone, Tegan was put into that green, glowing, like arcane box from something that he had a bunch of like visions of like the past and just kind of this sudden overwhelming sense of failure, Tegan, as this green box like closed in around you. If you could, this will be the end of your turn, but if you could make another wisdom saving throw for me, please, to see if you can get out of here.
Okay. $13.
Okay. You are still inside the box. and you take some psychic damage.
Okay.
Stephanie, one day will learn to just get out dice instead of just leaving her hands, her fate, to find them in the moment.
Is my quick question?
Yes.
Am I still? I take it I'm still incapacitated, right?
You are, yes. You're incapacitated until the end of your
Okay.
next turn, which is where you could. Oh wait.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I
wait.
thought you said.
You
Yeah,
are. Yeah, you are.
but first time I was in there, you said until the end of your next turn. Yeah, let me know.
Okay. Did you you took the damage last turn, right? I think I told you to
Yes.
take that damage afterwards. Okay. No, I think you're actually right. I'm sorry about that. I was reading it incorrectly. So
Okay.
you lose your turn, but you do get out of the box at the end of here. Still feeling that kind of overwhelming sense of like
Thank you.
fear and dread, and kind of hopelessness as the box kind of disappears from around you. All right. So that brings us to Asleep, Kazeel, and then Juniper first. However, another one of the hands is going to open up one of the wings and kind of face towards one of you. Savar.
Oh.
If you could make. Oh, well, actually, let me roll here to see what we got. Oh, let me write that down. Got a 1. Okay. You see this eye opening up on the hand. If you could roll me a wisdom saving throw, please.
You're next to Asleep, so +4.
You were right there next to Asleep. You guys are
Yeah.
buddies.
It was. Did you say wisdom?
Yes.
Okay. That was weird. 15, 19.
Okay. Yeah, you feel like something's trying to kind of take over your senses, Zavar, but you're able to fight it off. Alright, so that brings us to Asleep, and then Kazeel, and then Juniper.
Nah. Okay. I don't know what to do, so Sleep's just gonna do what he does and oh, you want me closer? Okay. And Sleep's just gonna run up and just start hacking with a sword.
Okay. So go right up to him.
Making sure not to get in that cone.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Alright, so you look up at this tall creature with the arms and the wings. Kind of looks down at you with his glowing eyes.
Alright. Attack number 1. Let's go. 26.
That hits?
And I'm gonna burn a first level spell slot for Divine Smite. So
Oh, I do
first
have
let me
that.
just do the base attack. And I do have a magic sword, so that's get all my dice. Okay, that is 13 slashing damage.
13 slashing damage. A little bit of resistance, but you got it.
Okay. And 17 radiant.
17 radiant.
Nice.
All right.
And the slashing was magical. But
Okay.
that makes a difference. All right. I get a second attack. 'Cause I'm
Yay.
a paladin.
Yeah.
Attack. Oh gosh, I almost threw my die half across the room. All right.
Because you're a paladin.
17. I don't think that hits.
Nope.
17 does not hit. No.
No. Okay. Do I have any bonus actions? Since I'm, since I'm right up in his grill,
Oh yeah, you are.
I'm gonna go ahead and just harness my divine power bonus action. Oh wait,
Okay.
no. Actually, no, I won't do that. I'm not ready to waste my channel divinity just yet. Yep, no, that's it. That's it for good old asleep.
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to Kazeel, then Juniper, then Renarius. First, another hand will outstretch here.
High five.
Exactly. Oh. Kazeel again. I have, let's see
I'm sorry,
here.
Dad. Steph just hates me today.
I am rolling, okay? Alright. You see one of these eyes open up on one of the hands on the wings. And if you could, Kazeel can make a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
How does he have a plus 12 on insight, but only a plus 2 on the saving throw? 12.
What'd you get?
12.
12? Okay. Kazeel, you see Kazeel fall asleep suddenly. So he is currently asleep. Not asleep the construct.
Kazeel.
Not asleep the construct, but he'll just kind of like and just kind of fall onto the floor. And you'll hear a few snores from him. Let's see here. Is there one for sleep in here? Oh, that's weird. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just remember that he's asleep. I will put one of these guys on him. We'll just turn it over. He needs a nap. He's many hundreds of years old, yes. All right, so that brings us to, well, it would have been Kazeel, but Kazeel is asleep and stays asleep. That brings us to Juniper.
Okay. Trini is going to move up. Her speed is 35 feet.
Okay.
And I want to get, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30. Can I get behind the Great One?
Yeah, you can.
But at least 10 feet from Zavar.
No.
Zavar, are you asleep?
From asleep?
Asleep. I thought
Okay.
Zavar was up there too. because he was punching.
I mean, you can get behind and technically, you know,
Ooh, flanking.
flank. That's it. That's the word.
Yeah, that's not what I want to do.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
you're within 10 feet of a sleep right now.
okay. Zafar, you must have moved.
So-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he
I
backed
can't.
up.
Yeah,
Okay.
stick and move.
Sorry. So can I move 5 feet back south? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can't tell if that's gonna be.
You're out of the
That-
sleep bubble.
I
In
know.
case you have to make a saving throw.
What is that? Is that a 10-foot radius for you? 30?
Yes.
10 foot radius,
10.
she's still within 10 feet.
Is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
I will accept that.
I need to move down one more, so I'm not. I'm sorry. One more.
Don't
One
wanna
more.
be in the
Well,
bubble?
now, okay, well, you're still within the radius.
Okay, that's fine. And then she's gonna thunderstep. Probably in front of Kazeel, so that he has some kind of protection while he's asleep. But when she
First
does
time,
that,
I think.
when she does that, it'll be a Constitution saving throw of 18 for a half. But it's thunder damage, so it might not be helpful anyways.
Let's see here. Between that space. So,
Where did that roll to?
taking 3d10. So that will also hit his sleep.
Okay, well, I tried to get out of range.
Alright, I mean, are you
It's-
wanting to
it's-
go back another 5?
I need, actually, if I go to the right 5 more feet, that should work.
To the right, just right up here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Alright, so now asleep is not in the damage range. He's not in the
Thank
splash
you.
zone.
Yay!
Thank you.
Alright.
Did that cast?
Cats. Okay.
And I don't know why that's not rolling.
Yes, there's a little bit of a resistance, but he still gets hit by it.
Okay. Did he make his save?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Constitution.
18.
He failed.
Okay. So 5d10. I don't think that's rolling. So sorry. Let me just do
It's
this.
okay. You're doing it at a higher level than what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's 31.
31. All right.
Nice.
It's thunder, so I'm not sure, but that'll put her.
There's a little bit of
And then-
resistance, but he's still hurt.
Okay. Yeah, if you can move her in front of Kazeel for me, because it shoots her across the map.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Although if I could slap Kazeel as a bonus action, I would love it.
Technically, no.
I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
or a hair
You could-
grab, Mad Birds.
You
Yeah,
could
I
yell at
saw that.
you could yell at him.
Magic Daddy, wake up! And that's my turn.
Just single hoof into the crotch.
Great sleep. No, it says a creature has to take an action to wake it. So the yell does not work.
It felt
Actions
good,
are
though.
too important.
Listen. All right.
Where's the party fighter when you need it?
That's it
Oh,
for
wait. Kazeel gave him a happy ending.
for Juniper. We next will have Rhaenyra, and we'll be back at the top of the round. First, I'm gonna take the hand and not stretch it. Since Juniper is standing in front of Kazeel and Kazeel's asleep, we're good there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who's that?
Let's give them a chance. Okay.
That laugh
Asleep.
tells me.
I
knew
rolled.
it. I knew it had to
no,
be me.
I rolled Zavar again. I rolled Zavar and I re-rolled because Zavar got it like two times ago.
Thank you.
All right, so asleep.
Yep.
Roll high. Asleep.
Oh, I've already done that one, so I can't do that one again. Okay.
Ooh.
All right, let me just write this
Good
down.
thing he only has 83 hands.
Asleep. You see one of these eyes kind of like open up on the wings right over you. If you could make a strength saving throw, please.
Okay. Math. I can do it. 25.
25.
Nice.
You feel this ray kind of start to reach out to you, and you feel like it's trying to move you in a direction, but you're able to overcome it.
You know, you keep trying to move me. You can just ask nicely.
Yeah. All right. So that brings us to the next person in our order, which is Rhaenyra.
I want to move as south as possible, but while being frightened, I don't know how that works with like getting closer to him.
You cannot get closer to him. But
So,
in fact, but let me see. Yeah, being frightened, you can't get any closer to him. You
I
can
feel
move,
like I have to move like southwest.
You can move south, or you'd have to move southwest. Yeah, you can move directly
Accidentally step
south
on
though.
Kazil.
Because moving directly south won't bring you any closer to him. You're still staying within the same length.
Okay, then
I would allow
directly
you.
south.
Okay.
6 spaces.
Okay.
Hit Kazil on your way down.
I'm in the. You know.
All right. So Juniper, you see Rhaenyra's kind of, like looking frightened, like run right past you.
Oh, buddy.
Sorry. And firebolt.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Firebolt's the great one. 23 to hit.
23 to hit. That hits. Yes.
And he's flammable.
And
We win.
so 16 damage. Fire.
16 fire damage. All right. Let me just take a look here. Okay, that seems a little bit of a resistance, but I still get hurt. Stephanie, what are you doing? Okay. Anything else for Rhaenyra?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. That brings us back to the top of the round. He will outstretch another hand and
Is this a visible spell casting, or is this a...
this is a kind of innate thing. I don't think it does. I think I looked this up already. It doesn't count as a spell cast.
Okay.
No. So Juniper. If you could roll, you see one of these eyes open up towards you. If you could roll a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
So 14.
14. All right. Juniper, you feel suddenly very scared, very frightened. Actually, Rhaenyra, speaking of which, could you make a wisdom saving throw for me, please, for your turn?
6.
Okay, you are still frightened. You suddenly feel very frightened of this creature, Juniper, and so you are frightened as well. You can repeat the saving throw again at the end of your next turn. So just, if I don't say anything, remind me if you remember.
Okay.
Because I tend to. So that just means you can't move any closer to the Great One while you're frightened.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So it brings us back to the top of the round. Hand still outstretched towards the ceiling. We're going to bring, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you'd want to risk that. I'm gonna say that he'll move this anti-magic cone. Not quite hitting you, Rhaenyra, but right beside you. Yeah. All right, and I'm gonna say that go into one of these again. Okay. All right. You suddenly see those spirits kind of come out from the walls and from the floor at everyone again. I would say, yeah, I would say everyone make a charisma saving throw for me, please.
Does Kazil make it? Even though
No, Kazil does not make it.
okay.
And Zavar, what did you get?
22.
22.
Natural 20.
All right, wonderful. Juniper?
15.
15. Tegan?
11.
Asleep?
Dirty 30.
And
Wow.
Kazil? Oh, that's right, Kazil's
70 plus
asleep.
13.
Rhaenyra, what did you get? For your charisma saving throw.
Oh, sorry, 16.
Okay. Juniper, Rhaenyra, and Tegan. You all feel one of these spirits go inside of you.
But I have a possession ring thing.
You do, so you fight it off. Right. So that brings us.
Maybe the ghost will wake up Kazil.
So that brings us to. I'm trying to think. I think that's pretty much it. Zavar, you first, the Great One, and then Tegan.
All right, so I would like to move around the Great One and get behind him.
Okay. It's 30.
Okay. And do some punchy punch with my magical bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
First one is.
With advantage.
Thank you. $17.
17 does not hit.
Okay. Let's see. Second second one. That's better. 24.
24 does hit.
Okay. So I'm going to do normal bludgeoning damage, which is 5, but counts as magical. But I am wearing my my special gloves, so I'm going to do 2 more. Well, 2d10 damage. So
Okay.
let's see. Okay. For 12 more damage.
Okay. That was 12 with the first two, right?
Say
You said
again.
12 more. Was there something before that?
Yeah, the first one was 5 damage,
Okay. All right. Sorry.
and then this is 12 damage.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll do another key point for flurry of blows for 2 more attacks. Well,
Okay.
2 more strikes. $23.
23 hits.
10 points of damage.
All right.
And hold on. And another 15 damage.
All right.
Okay, and then I got 1 more. $27.
27 hits.
Okay. Okay. Regular fist is 6 magic bludgeoning and another 17
17 damage.
points of damage.
Okay. All right. Is that it for Savar?
Yep.
All right.
Haha, got you right in the kidney.
You just punch at him. He's so large that it takes him a bit, kind of turns around. At some point, it's like, just kind of, gives you this kind of death glare. As a few of his hands, like the eyes open up towards you, but no rays, just like he's looking at you. He sees.
I'm not intimidating. I have been drinking.
All right. Is that for Javar's turn? Savar's turn? And Jafar?
Javar.
Javar.
I'm okay with that.
Iago, go peck out one of those eyes.
All right, so that brings us to the Great One. Let's see here. What do I want to do?
Give up? Just bad idea. Throwing it
Yeah.
out there.
I mean, you might as well.
No, that doesn't fit the character. He should give himself a pat on the back for doing so well against us. And that, with all his hands, that will take, a round.
Okay. Yeah, why not? So the Great One kind of, this star kind of flies out from his rose and starts circling his head, along with 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. He kind of
Is
smirks.
that something I can counterspell?
You do see him making a spell, yes.
I counterspell at 3rd level. Or, sorry, 5th level.
5th level. Alright, you will have to make an ability check for me, please.
That's just intelligence, right? I should not. Oh, wait.
Using your spellcasting ability.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, no, that's an 11. Failure.
What did you roll? Oh, 11. Okay.
11.
Yes, the counterspell does not go through. He does kind of look at you, Venerius, as if he acknowledges that you tried to counterspell his attack. But it continues on, and he smirks at all of you. And you hear that kind of chuckle in your heads again. You will not last. And I would like, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course. Zavar, since you recently punched him, could you make a... Oh, this is a bonus action.
I don't like when she says that. Oh, it's only a bonus action. Zavar +4, remember, because your buyer's been sleeping.
Yeah, I have to make a spell attack here. Oh, does a 24 hit, Zavar?
Yes.
Okay. That is. Give me 1 second. Let me just get the dice up that I need. Zavar, you see him kind of turn around to you on this kind of podium that's being held up by these arms and hands. He turns around slowly and just looks down at you. And you see these bright stars circling his head. One kind of flies off and turns and goes straight down at you. Let's do this and just add them. That is 23 radiant damage.
Okay.
And that star goes away.
23?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I think they have to do a cantrip, I think. Let's see here. Is a regular action. Let's see. What can we do? Okay. He's also going to draw this wild-looking sword out from his belt, from his robe, Zavar, and start to swing it at you.
What's he swinging at me?
A sword.
Okay. Is that star... Was that a missile?
It was a star.
Okay.
It was magical. I mean... let's see here. That would be... only a 13 to hit.
Nope.
Okay. Alright, so that whips right by you. And that brings us to Tegan. I'm going to take off that condition off of you.
Okay.
That brings us to Tegan, asleep, and then Kazeel.
Oh, you missed me with the melee attack, right?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to spend a key point, and I'm going to cause... Let's see. When a creature misses you with a melee attack roll, you can spend 1 key point as a reaction to cause that attack to hit one creature of your choice. Other than the attacker, never mind. God damn it.
Hey, what? What's wrong?
Never mind. I just
Okay.
read the whole card.
Okay.
I wanted it to attack itself. but it's other than the attacker.
Other than its attacker. Okay. All right.
Boo.
I mean, you could have it attack asleep if you wanted to really just take care of business
No.
here.
I'm not that awesome.
Zavar turns on all of you.
Oh
Zavar's
man,
the
that'd be a
BBG.
twist. Surprise!
All right.
Why? You were my best friend.
So that does bring us to Tegan, and then asleep, and then Kazeel. So Tegan, you are possessed, correct? So Tegan, if you could make if you could roll a d4 for me, please.
Okay. A4.
You know what? Actually, no, it's fine. 4. So that would be asleep. If you could roll an attack roll for your bow. Or your crossbow? Yeah. Do you have a longbow? I don't remember. I'm sorry. I should know.
Throw a rock at me.
Yeah.
Anything.
Alright, you roll an attack. What did you roll for your attack? Roll. Tegan.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, because
attacking?
you're possessed. You have a ghost within you, so
Oh,
you
oh,
feel
oh,
yourself
I'm
kind of turn
attacking.
to
You have a
asleep.
ghosty
You
inside
feel
of you.
yourself. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't make that.
Yeah, I thought you said
clear.
asleep.
Patrick-
Oh, I thought, yeah.
No.
I
Patrick
confused.
Swayze is taking your hands and drawing your bow.
I'm so sorry. So you feel this kind of overwhelming sense to kind of turn to asleep, Tegan, and pull back your bow without mentally you're trying to tell yourself to stop, but it just continues.
Tegan,
What was your attack roll?
11.
Straight into
Does
the
11 hit asleep?
No.
Okay.
Don't
So the
insult me. I'm a
arrow,
warforged.
the arrow flies right past your head asleep. You turn back and you
Does it
get
hit the right one?
Probably no. It probably
Oh.
can tell that it came from Tegan. Tegan, you at the end of the turn, you kind of have your bow drawn and you kind of realize what just happened.
Crap.
Don't do that.
Sorry.
Sleep yells across from 30 feet away. All right. That brings us to asleep, then Kazeel, then Juniper. One of the other hands opens up here. Everyone's asleep. Could you see here? You see one of these eyes open up to you. And where did my D10 go? Okay. Nope, can't do that one. Okay, perfect. Could you make a Constitution saving throw for me, please?
Yeah.
What did you roll?
17.
Okay. Asleep, you feel this kind of ray reach out to you from the hand, and you start to feel your kind of joints, your metallic joints, and your body, just start to kind of like freeze up. But you're able to fight it off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't mean to. Asleep has advantage on becoming paralyzed or stunned to avoid that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you would have, would have had advantage there.
Okay.
You need
just-
oil.
You know.
All right. So,
Please. I'm the son of Magic Daddy. I'm always lubed up.
asleep, it is your turn. And then after that, Kazeel.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna hit him
Okay.
with the sword. Come on. Attack number 1. 17.
Advantage.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Oh, yeah, because the
flanking
bar's
against
over
bar.
there.
Mm-hmm.
That's much better. 25.
25 hits.
All right. World's about to end, and I feel fine. So I'm burning a 3rd level spell slot for Super Divine Smite. And also, should have asked this sooner. Is the Great One considered an undead or a fiend?
I mean, I would assume so, yes. Fiend.
That's what I was thinking. Cool. Cool. All right. Okay. Ooh. All right, that's 16 slashing damage.
Okay.
And time for all my radiant. Oh. Hold on. I'm getting a calculator because I don't trust my head math.
Sure.
Okay, so that was 16 slashing damage,
Okay. A little bit of resistance.
33 radiant.
Okay.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you got another attack coming.
And I get another attack. Now, I think, yeah, I'm doing it. Yeah, well, let's see if I hit first.
Advantage.
Woo! Yeah, 30. 19 plus 11.
3 to hit?
30.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that hits.
Don't even need the.
Okay. This is it.
A natural
I'm
20
leaving
would be
nothing on the
nice.
table. Burning another 3rd level spell slot.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's 8 slashing,
Okay.
31 radiant.
Alright.
And then we're on bonus action. Now I'm gonna burn my channel divinity, harness divine power, and regain a 3rd level spell slot.
Okay.
So the sleep still has Revivify in his back pocket, guys.
Okay. Alright.
It's not the problem.
I know it's not the problem, but
Alright, so that brings us to another eye opening up on the hand. Alright, what am I doing? Safar.
Hi.
Could you... So you see one of these kind of turns to you once again. And... Let's see here. Let me just do the ones that I haven't. No, did I do that one? I did. I did. And that one. Okay. Could you roll a Constitution saving throw for me, please?
Mm-hmm.
plus 4.
27.
27. All right. You feel this kind of another beam reach out to you. And you feel some like necrotic energy kind of being pushed out from the Great One, but you're able to thwart it. All right. That brings us to Kazeel, and then Juniper, and then Rhaenyra. Kazeel, that's your cue.
Jonathan.
Does he have to roll a save or something?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
He's asleep.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
he's
Oh, that's right.
asleep.
Nope.
There's nothing- there's nothing-
Kazeel's still
yeah.
asleep. That's true. So that brings
How
us
can
to
a sleep wake up?
Juniper. Just as she puts a piece of chocolate in her mouth.
Great timing.
I am possessed and frightened.
You are.
Do they
All
get
right.
disadvantage on my
So-
attack roll?
They cancel each other out.
You will know because it's only against the frightened is only from the person that cast it. So it would only be frightened of the Great One, not technically frightened of anyone else. Could you roll a d4 for me, please, Juniper?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, d4 is good.
4.
4. You start walking over to Tegan. And if you can make an attack roll, please, on one of your daggers or something.
I mean, I'd rather have stabbed Kazeel, but okay.
I mean, you could, but you're possessed, so yeah.
Does 23.
23?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
What's my short sword? And that's 9 piercing.
Okay, so 9 piercing, Tegan.
I will use uncanny dodge to half that.
Okay. And Juniper,
Yeah,
you
you're
shake
a
out
rogue.
of it. As you're staring face to face with Tegan.
I didn't just stab you, did I?
Oh, and also if you can make a, I think a charisma saving throw for your frightened. Wisdom saving throw, sorry.
Wisdom? Okay.
Yes, wisdom.
Okay. 14.
You're still frightened. Okay.
Just means you can't get closer. That's all.
All right. So that is Juniper's turn. Unless you have something else, Juniper, for your turn. Okay. All right. That brings
Bonus
us.
action, hit Kazeel.
Can I use a bonus action?
I'm
not possessed.
The rules specifically say that it has to be an action to wake them up.
I'm not waking him. But am I able
Yeah.
to use a bonus action since I'm not possessed?
No, the possession would have ended at the end of your turn.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
my turn.
All right. So another eye opens up here. Juniper, you kind of glance over your shoulder at the Great One, and let's see
He winks at
here. Let me just go with the next one we haven't done yet. All right. If you can make a dexterity saving throw for me, Juniper.
27.
All right. You feel your body kind of start to slow down a bit, but you're able to ward it off there. So you're good. And let's see here. That brings us to Rhaenyra. And then we'll have a bathing break.
I'm going to walk over and wake up Kazeel.
Okay. So you use an action to give Kazeel a slap on the face.
Yeah!
And Kazeel is awake.
Oh, you lied.
That last turn.
It's
All
okay.
right. Anything else for your turn, Rhaenyra, or is that it?
I'll probably move back to where I was since I had some extra
Okay,
movement.
was that like right here?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you were like 5 feet away from that. Okay. That brings us to the top of the round and our bathroom break. So, everyone who's watching, we take a 10-minute bathroom break. Just to remind everyone that you have one more round from what Rhaenyra told you to defeat the Great One. But yeah, we'll be back in 10 minutes, everyone. Okay, see you
Boy.
then. Bye. All right, mics are hot.
My stomach hurts. Okay. Where's
round, so how did that start playing again? Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. Let's go! Let's go!
Yeah, we're gonna do the thing.
Top of
Top of the round. Give me a second. if our transition is going. 3, 2, 1. It tried. It tried. Let's get our music
That's the
going
best we can
again.
do sometimes.
Jesus. The mirror bound is broken. Alright. Here you go. Alright. Alright. So, top of the round. Sorry, wait a minute. Okay. I'm putting a note in Zoom. Sorry, I'm juggling a few things here. All right. 2 minutes left on the break. It didn't start over already. I thought it would have already started over. It felt like 20. It felt like more than 10 minutes. Maybe that was just me.
I like that he just thinks that we're early.
Oh yeah, it's early. Yeah, it was 18. All right. Okay. So everyone saw my notes in the Zoom chat there. All right, we are at the top of the round. I feel like I just have a lot of stuff going on in my head right now. Okay.
More than us.
Top of the round. So, as you know, some of you, a couple of you are, actually, I think, yeah, you were frightened. Yeah, I just put that on upside down. So a couple of you are frightened out there, and you're starting to feel kind of the weight of the last round, and just, it just seems like you can't quite get to him, can't quite, get enough in for him. And he seems a little bit more worn than when you first saw him. Some of his robe around his waist is kind of tattered a bit. His wings do have a little bit of a droop to them, and you can see a couple of scars on his chest. His eyes, the glow in his eyes have dulled a little bit. So there is progress to be seen. And as we start this next round, he kind of looks over all of you. And with the one hand still raised up in the air, with that, Rhaenyra, you'll be able to see this kind of energy kind of growing and growing even more. He'll kind of drop another one of his hands and will kind of face it towards the ground and just make this kind of motion of like bringing things up. And suddenly the spirits that had attacked you before all start kind of raising from the floor, and you see them kind of coming out of the ceilings and kind of being drawn into the Great One. Suddenly, Rhaenyra and Juniper, you kind of feel this sudden lightness to you. The fear that you felt just a second ago kind of goes away. But you can see that this energy, as you're kind of seeing through newly unfrightened eyes, this energy is being drawn up, this purple and different auras of magic, as these different spirits just draw into the Great One with this hand that's still outstretched to the ceiling. And all of you also feel kind of bits of yourself kind of being pulled out of you. And you kind of look down, you can almost see kind of like this magical energy just kind of being pulled out. Like it's trying to stay, and you start to feel kind of like all these emotions. You're able to fight most of it and to continue fighting, but there is something happening, and it seems like you can look up at the Great One, you see one of his hands just kind of drawn out to all of you in this motion of just pulling things to him. And especially those closest to him, Zavar and Asleep, you feel that even more so. That kind of pull, like something's being drawn out of you that you can't lose. And so just all these spirits are just, and it seems to be just unending, like where are these spirits coming from? But just different ones just being drawn into him at this stage. All of the eyes in the hands in his arms and his wings flex, and all of the eyes open up at once. But they're not different colors as you've seen them before, but only 3 colors: green, black, and red. Just repeated on different eyes in the wings as he spreads them out and kind of flexes them. And that's where we'll start the top of the round. Yeah, so first we have Zavar, and then the Great One, and then Tegan.
Well, Zavar is going to continue to do what he does best. I'm glad you opened up your rings. You've made, it looks like I've got some more area to, punch you at. Let's see how this goes.
You can feel just that aura of magic just emanating off of him now. Zavar.
Okay. That's a 22 to hit.
Okay. Actually, give me 1 second here. 22 hits, yes, sorry.
Okay. That's 9 of my magical bludgeoning.
Okay.
Yeah, you get advantage.
Yep, I
Oh,
did.
that's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then there's 17 points additional.
Okay. Was that the radiant or was that bludgeoning? I don't know. It was
So
a sleep that did
the
radiant.
first one is bludgeoning, but it's considered magic. The second one is force,
Okay.
but also considered magic.
And it was 17 you said total for that one?
Yes.
The second one? Okay.
Yeah, for the second one.
Okay.
All right, and punch number 2. Oh, so close. 23.
23 hits.
Okay. That's 12 of the bludgeoning.
Okay.
And 5 of the other one.
Okay.
Definitely spend a key point for a couple more. $22.
22 hits.
That's 10 plus. Okay, that one's 10, and then 7 points.
Of damage.
Yes.
Okay.
So 10 and then 7, and then am I counting right? One more. Oh, dang it. 24.
24 hits.
All right. 11 bludgeoning.
Okay.
And 11 force.
Okay.
And that's all the punchy.
Okay. Alright, for your turn?
Yep.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna say that. Oh man. What does he want to do? So we have that going. So Okay. Oh. Oof. Okay. Sorry, I'm just deciding. Yeah, is that happening? So I think that he would probably do this. Okay. Oh, good night, Trilena. Okay, all of you start feeling this pierce, in your minds, this kind of, almost like a small scratching that just turns into a wail and into a scream. Could all of you make, let's see here, intelligence saving throw, please.
Can I counterspell it?
He is casting a spell, yes.
Counterspell it. 5th level.
Let's see what, yeah. Somatic. 5th level, you will have to make a roll.
Yep.
Ability
And
check.
that's a 1. Natural 1.
Okay. Alright.
Boo.
Womp womp.
And the counterspell does not go through. The
What do we have
spell
to do?
on the Great One's end does. If you could make an intelligence saving throw, please. Oh, this is going to be fun. I will come around and get what you rolled here in a couple of seconds once I find enough dice.
Shit.
Let me go to the back of my drawer. Get all the D10s I can find.
Alright. I'll come around and see what you rolled there. Savar, what did you roll?
15.
Okay. And Juniper?
14.
Tegan?
8.
Asleep?
Sleep got 14.
14. And what about Kazeel?
Kazeel got 4.
Okay. And Bernerius?
23.
23?
23.
So, everyone but Renerius, that screams just pierces, and you can hardly concentrate, and you take 45 psychic damage. Renerius, you take half that.
Okay.
45 psychic.
Rounding up,
Yes.
I guess.
Yes. All right. And then the screen goes away, and it's headache afterwards. And yeah, that takes care of, yeah, because they have to do that. Yeah, with that spell. So that brings us to Tegan, and then Asleep, and then Kazeel.
Okay. Tegan will cast Moonbeam at 5th level.
Okay.
DC 17 con save.
Okay. Ooh. That's a 9. Fail.
All right, let's go take the full boat. $21 radiant damage.
Okay.
And can I take a potion as a bonus action?
You can, yes.
I mean, it doesn't really. I mean, at this
Just
point.
so
But
we know.
just in case he does a legendary that happens to knock me for 17.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take a superior,
Okay.
which is 8d4 plus 8.
Oops. Alright.
8d4, sorry. Cancel that, Frank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 22 plus 8 is 30 healing.
Okay.
And that is Tegan's last turn.
Oh, don't say it like that.
All right.
Oh, I didn't.
All right. So that brings us to let's see here. Asleep, and then Kazeel. One of the eyes will kind of blink, and let's see here. That will be Tegan. Great.
Good thing I took the.
And that will be. Let's see, I have this somewhere. Okay. Tegan, could you make a dexterity saving throw for me, please?
Sure. 13. Rolling
13.
like crap. 4 plus 9. Oh, plus my 1, which is 14. Woohoo.
Okay. Alright. Tegan, one of these rays kind of reaches out to you, and you take 45 force damage.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm very glad I healed.
Okay.
I'm very glad I healed.
Alright. Yeah. Alright. That brings us to Asleep. And then Kazeel.
Oh, yep. This is it. Mm-hmm. All right.
Take him down.
Attacking with advantage. Ooh. 28. And I will burn Asleep's last spell slot for another 3rd level Divine Smite.
Okay.
Get him.
Alright. Gotta get my glasses, gotta get my calculator. Okay. Alright.
4 plus 10 plus 5 plus 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's 11 slashing
Okay.
and 32 radiant.
Alright.
Second attack. Uh 23 to hit.
That hits.
And the sleep's last attack hits with 8 slashing, 6 radiant.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all sleep can do.
Okay. All right. That brings us to next Kazeel and then Juniper. Another eye blinks on the wings. And 6. Okay. Juniper. Could you roll me a 1, 2? Okay. One of these eyes looks towards you. Okay. Could you roll me a dexterity saving throw, please?
It's a 13.
Okay. That takes out as this ray comes towards you, and you feel not only parts of yourself being pulled out, but like this kind of slowing of your heart. You take 55 necrotic damage. As it hits you, and the ray retracts. Alright. That brings us to Kazeel.
You can actually do something. Oh!
Yeah.
All right. I'm not gonna even try to do an impression. Kazeel's gonna pull out his fancy, violin and just start I don't know, doubling down Georgia or something. I don't know.
Okay.
and cast
Okay.
Arcane Hand
Alright.
at 8th level. And so a large hand, shimmering and translucent, appears, it appears right next to him. And
Is there a saving throw for that, or?
no, it's just a giant hand, and then it's gonna make an attack. Just smack him upside the head.
Okay. Was this a spell that Kazeel cast?
Yes, so I'll have to roll for attack.
Okay. You feel a counter spell start coming on.
Oh.
But that I have to make a ability roll.
And what does it gotta be?
It just has to
18.
be 10 plus, so yeah, 18 since the spell level is 10. I mean 8.
73.
Gets a d20 per hand.
All right. That is just a 12.
Hey!
Takes full damage. Oh no, it takes the spell goes off. Yeah, the spell goes off.
Yeah, the spell works.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's 10d8.
Yep.
Okay.
Get the calculator. I don't trust myself. That is 43 force damage.
Okay. All right. Is that all for Kazil?
No. Bonus action.
Okay.
He is he's given a bardic inspiration to Rhaenyra.
Oh god.
So Rhaenyra, you get a D12.
All right.
Rhaenyra went down to Georgia. He never come to. I'm nervous.
I'm sorry. Did you ask me something? What was
No.
the? Okay. Well, you did a bonus thing. What was the bonus thing?
He gave inspiration to Rhaenyra.
Okay. All right. Okay. That brings us to Juniper next, and then Rhaenyra. First, another one of these eyes opens. Oh, Kazil. That makes sense,
No.
actually.
Yeah. Punch, punch.
And if I could... Oh, this one's actually just going to be that one. So the eye flashes a green. And if I could have Kazil roll a Constitution saving throw, please.
Hmm. 17.
17. Yeah, so that passes.
Ooh.
That brings us to Juniper.
How do I make a death saving throw?
Oh,
It's just a D10.
you're down?
Oh yeah.
I thought you had like 60 something.
The ray brought you down.
Yes.
So, the ray that brought you down,
Is there no death save?
it's a no death save, yes.
Okay.
So everyone kind of looks to Junie for her turn, that you assume is usually her turn. And you see her lying on the floor. Not moving. That brings us to Rhaenyra. You're next.
How's he looking?
Oh, he's looking rough. He's looking rough. He's still holding that magic above him, a bit barely. You can see him kind of stagger a bit. Wings are just kind of drooping down, with the hands kind of just holding it up into the air. Looking very badly.
Before combat, Tegan gave me a bag, and in that bag was a time device. Would Rhaenyra know how to use that, or that would take some time to activate?
Who gave you that bag? Was it Tegan?
Mm-hmm.
Tegan, was the time device like fully functional?
Yep, I think it was John's.
Okay. I mean, Rhaenyra, you would know just from past experience and from people, you know, just from what you've heard, that it seems to be utilized by just holding it and thinking, you know, thinking about what you want it to change, what you want to happen. Yeah, your deepest desire currently.
It has to be one desire, or could it be like revive Juniper and
you don't know. I mean, you can try. I mean, you know, you honestly don't know that part. You just know that it's your deepest desire. You've never heard if it's just one thing, if it's more than one. I mean, you know, why not try to do more than one thing? And
I think I want to try to buy us more time, be it a few more rounds, be it the Great One being held in some kind of stasis. I don't know, something like that.
okay.
So that's what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna hold in my hand and think about that cataclysm not happening just yet.
All right. As you take out this time device, Rhaenyra, something that none of you have tried to like maneuver before, other than just handing it off or putting it into a bag, and you hold it and you just remember everything that you've heard about it, everything that you've been told, thinking about all these times these time devices have been used against you and your friends, and even now with the pillars and everything, they still seem to be weaponized against you. You just want this time device to do just something good, something to help you and your friends as you look across and a few feet away and you see Juniper lying there. And you know that your friends are hurt. You look around. You just want just a little more time. Something to help you in this fight. You wish that, and at first, for a second, you think nothing is happening, but then you start to see kind of his arm that's being upheld waver, and the ghosts that were being drawn into him and like flying past you this entire round, just being drawn into the Great One, suddenly falter and just stop and just kind of dissipate. And kind of as most of them dissipate, you see a few ghosts a few spirits that you recognize. One being the spirit of Regina, and a few other people, mages that you've known that the group has lost along this journey. Regina looks at you and gives a nod, and suddenly the 5 of them dissipate and appear around the Great One as they hold him back and hold him down. And you hear Regina's voice in your head, Rhaenyra. And actually, you all hear this voice in your head of, you can do this. Just a little more. You got him. And there you go. And that would be your action for the turn. Do you have anything
Yep.
bonus or extra you would like to do?
I'd like to get closer.
Okay. How close do you want to get? Full movement?
Yeah, full movement. To be, sort of north of, because I don't want to be in that cone, so a little north of.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually the cone would be down, so you wouldn't have to worry about that anyways. I'm like, wait, what is that cone for? Okay. Alright. And that brings us to the top of the round. And for a moment, everyone feels this kind of trepidation. So many things would happen around the time that you get to this point. Like the ghosts and the holds and the rays. And you kind of hold your breath for a moment knowing that the group is on the precipice of losing this. But it seems that the rest of you can see these spirits holding back the Great One as it struggles against them. And, you can hear this kind of feel the distaste of the Great One and the frustration that he is just emanating psychically through all of you. And we go back to Zavar.
Juniper! No! Punch, punch, punch.
Okay. Right.
Natural fucking 20 for
Great.
29.
Nice.
Get it, son.
Wonderful.
All right. So how much of this gets doubled? My normal attack damage is 16. And with the extra damage from the gloves, does that get extra or not? Do you know? I don't remember.
Let's just count it now. Go for it.
Yay. Okay. Oh. Well, okay. 22. That could have been better.
To hit?
But I'll take it. No, that was just damage.
Damage, okay.
Yeah.
And you get something else, right?
Okay, that was 1.
Okay.
Here's
Did you double the
attack-
damage for your that was doubled?
Yes.
Okay.
So attack number 2. Uh 10. Did I roll double ones? Damn it.
Oof.
That's
A 10 to hit, it's a 10 to attack, right?
that was a 10 to attack, so
Yeah,
that fails.
That fails.
Okay. Another key point for 2 more.
Okay.
Okay. Another natural 20 for
Nice.
29.
Oh,
Okay, so first damage is 9 points, and second damage is 19 points.
Savar, how do you want to do this?
yes!
Yes!
Woo!
In the name of Torchlight and in the name of Juniper, you son of a bitch, kiss my ass. I'm gonna take my Torchlight symbol. I'm gonna raise it up, and I'm going to completely relax all of my image, because I'm, as a changeling, I normally look like a normal human. I'm dropping all that shit, looking completely natural, extra pale, extra blonde, and avenging my family, avenging everything that all the others that you've killed, and all of our friends, that you're done. Just punch, 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 pow, pow, pow.
Yeah. You lay into it, Zavar, and you just keep punching these ghosts, holding the Great One down. And you punch, punch, punch. And as you keep punching and you feel this kind of anger and rage come out of you, you kind of see the form of the Great One shifting from this winged godlike creature to human, and then to other people that you don't recognize, that you would assume have tried to become the Great One throughout forever. And then it goes back to the Great One that you've been fighting this entire time. And you just see it just kind of look up and just fall to the ground. And let me bring up my notes here. I'm sorry. I got so into it. Let me actually change the music too, because we don't need this anymore. And as you kind of stop your punching and you kind of look around at everyone, he looks partially joyous, but also partially sad, kind of glancing over at Juniper. You start to feel time slow. The spirits who were holding down the Great One start to kind of pull back. And Rhaenyra, you kind of catch eyesight of Regina. She'll give you a smile that you recognize before she dissipates. And the cave starts to shake as time feels like it's stopping for all of you who are still standing. And the Great One's body begins to glow this bluish green aura. With an almost blinding flash, spirits will start to pour out of him, all the ones that he had not let go of recently, and some leaping into the mirrored portal-like door behind, and others just kind of floating in the air. They began to reach out and pour from the floor and the walls as well, kind of floating into space, some going into the mirrored portal. Another hurried flash as time seems to slow and stand still. Except you can feel for those who are standing, you can feel your heartbeats, and you can see the water-like waverings of the spirits around you and these hushed voices hanging in the air. You start to look around, you can even see some spirits standing amongst you, all looking, their clothes vastly different, ages different, species different. You would recognize them all as possibly mages, maybe others. All seem to be standing and just kind of looking at all of you and looking at the Great One's now dead body. The cave kind of transforms back from this kind of weird dimensional space you've been in back to the regular cave that you walked into, and you can now see the dead mage bodies lying on the floor, and the empty vials and the blood and the crystals that kind of crunch underneath your feet. Time unfreezes a bit, and you can feel the blood rushing through your veins, and just feel this kind of for those who got close to the Great One, this kind of time magic that just seems to hang thickly in the air. You can almost cut through it. The spirits suddenly become still, as only your breathing can be heard now. The whisperings kind of go away. They all kind of float down to the floor with you to stand amongst you. And slowly, one by one, they all bow and a cacophony of voices, different ages, different species, saying thank you. One speaks up amongst them. We've been lost. We can move on. And suddenly, kind of amongst all of them, appears the spirit that, Rhaenyra, you'll recognize from portraits around your house of Bastille. He's standing about 20 feet from you, looking like you had seen him in rendered portraits that your family had gotten done, even though he was gone from the family a long time ago. Mostly from memory and descriptions. But you recognize him and you kind of feel this kind of recognition within you. Now, this isn't the man who became the Great One, or the man that desired that power and turned on his friends for that power and cut out his own self for that power, but it's the person before that. Person who was your grandfather. Now look at you, Anarius, and with almost this kind of glassy-eyed look of, you are far better than I ever was. Kind of looks to all of you. All of you are. Thank you. Thank you.
Rest well.
You too. And all the spirits will rise, and the cave will fill with light once again. This time the light emanating from the mirror-like portal that's beyond, and bright images flash within it, slow at first, but increasing in speed as it plays through. The images so bright that they feel as if they could just imprint on your retinas and in your brain. As they flash, the spirits move into the mirrored door, into the mirrored portal, disappearing into its light. Inside this and the images that are flashing are different things that you feel in your soul could have happened if you had failed. Dim glimpse splintering apart, pieces of it. More spirits pour into the portal. Cities and people being sucked into rips or wiped out completely. More spirits pour into the portal. Library, gets kind of sucked in by the Great One in these images. Northern Crown falling apart. The Durano passing. Several areas that in the material plane in Osbergen being completely destroyed. But you know that all of that's what could have been, what you fought against, and what you saved. They all disappear in another flash of light. And then the portal becomes just a wall. And you know that you did it. Kazeel will kind of blink through teary eyes and just look around. We did it. And
I can't really believe it.
As soon as everything stops, the sleep is immediately running to Juniper.
Same.
Not saying anything. He's gonna just pick her up. It's not gonna do anything, but he's gonna pour all his lay on hands that he has left just to see if it does anything.
You do that asleep and just in wanting to see her just open her eyes. And It doesn't seem to do anything, no.
Okay. Then Tegan will. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I
You
was
still
gonna
want to
say.
do something?
I was just gonna say, if that doesn't work, Asleep's just gonna start running, carrying her out of the cave,
Well,
back towards people.
Before he does
Unless-
that, Tegan's going to cast Gentle Repose on Juniper.
Okay. You see Tegan kind of reach out as you start to pick her up asleep and start to take the steps towards the exit. And what does Gentle Repose do again, Tegan?
Basically extends the clock. Protects her from being turned undead, and the time to raise her is now 10 days.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure. So as the two of you start to make towards the exit of the cave, you'll hear the sound of a portal opening and closing from the way that you're going towards it. You came in, and the sound of someone running. And around the corner comes John, followed by Lashta. They'll immediately kind of step in a little awkwardly and look, and John will see, Juniper in your arms asleep. You turn to Lashta. Do you have anyone that can heal, that can help? I think so. Let me go and look. I'll get someone and bring them here. And so Lashta will hurriedly run out.
As Asleep will just like his little compartment in his arm will just open, and he just dumps the diamonds that he had. And he's not saying anything, but if you're close to him, you'll see that his whole like armor body is like quivering.
Let me just get something here. Within a few moments, Lashta will come running back in with the mage. Seeing the diamonds on the floor, will kind of quickly hand them to the mage that she brought in. And I mean, we can do this. The mage is kind of turns to all of you. The mage is a bit spent. We've had to revive several in my, within the fighting and all. There's 3 of you with some kind of magical ability, if you wouldn't mind kind of helping out here. Just to help the mage and kind of feed some power into them, if you can.
Yeah, Tegan will. You see what level it is?
Gaziel's going to help, Advert says. We'll say done.
And Renarius will step. What are we doing? Given spell slots?
Yeah, we're just, so basically, as a DM, I'm saying that anything that you want to contribute to help the mage, give them power, or help bring back Juniper, whether that be a magical object, a spell slot.
I have a 4th level spell slot.
Okay. The
I have a 1st level spell slot.
mage and Lashta will kind of lay Juniper down amongst everyone, and the mage will ready the crystals and get them laid out. And we'll ask the 3 of you helping, which is Tegan, Gaziel, and Renarius, to sit around in like this circle. And okay, I can do what I can do with the diamonds. And just give me a few moments and they'll start the casting of Revivify, and you can see that they're tired, and this is probably they've done this so much recently and they just seem battle worn, but they'll look up to Tegan and will give you a nod.
Yep. And I will, yeah, 4th level.
Okay.
Actually, healing spirit, which is, yeah.
Okay. Is there any certain way that you want that to look, Tegan? Anything you want to say?
Do you need to come back? You still have some voyages to go on.
Yep.
And what happens is you see these nature spirit that like hover around her. It keeps doing 1d6 healing like for a minute.
She'll look to Kazil, Kazil will actually look to you, asleep. Do you want to do something asleep?
I would say asleep is he's still not communicating, but unless
I can help you offer something up together.
Unless the mages or anyone like pushes him away, he's not gonna let go of at least Judy's hand.
Okay.
And when I mean he could cast guidance, but he's
fine.
Gonna actually open up his armor chest, and just so you can see the blue crystal that is him, and he's just gonna hold Junie's hand to the crystal, and just he's not saying anything. You can't even tell what he's looking at, but his little flames flickering.
As you do that asleep, you probably don't notice because you're so focused, but Kazil will kind of lean in and will get out his violin and just kind of, not really, because he has to have both hands for the violin, but just kind of be there right beside of you. And you can, even through your metal exterior, you can feel that presence. And he'll start playing on his violin a song that Juniper has said that she's liked before. And we'll do that, and we'll kind of say, our silly boy is asleep, not you, so wake up. And we'll continue playing. As the light from Asleep's heart just kind of softly glows, enveloping Juniper. And the mage will look to Rhaenyra and give a nod.
May the tide of belief bring you back ashore, and I'll use all my remaining spell slots.
Okay.
Whatever they are. Got a bunch.
So you see Rhaenyra, after he says this, just kind of position his hands towards Juniper, and just everything just leave him that he has reserved so far from the fight. All the magic, you can just see his body just being pushed into it, and as all this power is coming from him and into Juniper's body. And that light from Asleep's crystal just glows and glows until you start to notice that the light is coming from Juniper herself. She's glowing and glowing. Then it dies down. For a moment, it doesn't seem like anything's happening, and then... And we'll go to Juniper. Juniper, as you're kind of in this listlessness, the last thing that you remember is fighting the Great One and one of the rays reaching out to you and you feeling your heart stop. And just, that was it. Nothing after that. And you, after what seems like a long time, you start to feel your friend's presence. Even though you look around in the space and you don't see them physically, you feel them, and you start hearing their words come back. The tide bring you back. And you start to see this blue, soft glow at first. It gets brighter and brighter. And you know that you have a choice. You can come back, see what's happened to your friends, or you can stay where you are and move on. You have a feeling that you don't have to fear the Great One taking your spirit right now, so... What's your decision?
Oh yeah, she's gonna swim for the light.
Okay. So you look into the darkness and you start thinking about things and, like, no. Turn. Start walking towards that blue light that gets brighter and brighter the closer you get to it, and then suddenly everyone sees Juniper, her eyes flutter. Juniper, you're back.
And as soon as she does that, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on her.
Okay. Hit with the sudden surge of healing, Juniper. You look around and asleep has you in this, embrace. Kazeel will kind of stop his playing and just kind of look at you and smile. Rhaenyra and Tegan and Zavar are there. Oh, she's up.
I feel like I just fell overboard.
You did for a moment.
Luckily, we had a line to throw.
Do you usually die immediately when you fall overboard?
Well, that seems to be a bad habit.
Let's not make that a good habit of any type.
The mage will step away. Lashta and John will kind of update everyone on what's been happening, what's went on. Lashta will say that anyone who wasn't violent in the city of Cheth Rhinn has been contained, but they're working with another dark elf city in the Underdark to come in and help those who are struggling, since most of them worshipped the Great One. And if they desire to still worship the Great One, give them guidance on how to do so in their own way. Security, but otherwise, Cheth Rhinn is secure as it can be for now. She does warn that there may be still those who wish the Forsaken harm, but as long as you're aware and are caught, just stay aware of your surroundings and where you are, and surround yourself with people. And she would say that there are plenty of people who she is sure that will want to help you and protect you from here on out. She will say they lost a lot of people in the city. But John will also come in with some good news. I'm going to say that everyone else was able to rescue hundreds of mages with the forces that all of you brought together at the summit in Rilesk. With everyone that you were able to dispatch, you were able to save hundreds of mages from the points of power. And they're working quickly to dispatch those points to bury them so they're not used again. Dim Glimt, as a demi-plane, is in pieces, but manageable. Nadrano was working with his contacts and those able to travel from the Northern Crown to try and build bridges where they could, as the lands of the demi-plane are currently extremely divided and an official count of losses must be made. Also mentioned that Nadrano updated him that the Titan that was guarding fell just a few moments ago into the sea, almost as if deactivated. The rifts are still there that were there before, but they seem to just be caverns into the Underdark. Cheth Rhinn and some of the people that she knows in the Underdark are going to be working on patching those up so they're not a danger. Things got a little crazy at Fairweather during this time. The anthology went around and tried to take people from the college against their will, but they rose up and fought back, most of them. There was a bit of struggle of power, but John believes that their side will win and Fairweather will be free of Rinka's and the library's influence once again. The library is gone as a building, collapsed within itself. But, he'll say, and look to Juniper, someone managed to pull something from it. And he'll kind of open this small little portal and pull out a wheel from a boat that you recognize.
Yay!
And we'll hand it over to you and smile. I think this is yours.
She's just gonna... She can't really lean on it because it's not that big, but she's like knelt down and leaning against it.
Sleek would do the same next to her. Just mimic her. He has no idea what. I mean, he knows what it is, but he doesn't know why it's important. But
yeah, I'll tell you when you're older. And she's mostly just weak, and that took anything she had left. So, thank you.
Of course, John will say.
Wow.
Well, I've heard that the mayor of Miss Reyes of Rilesk has some food for you set up. She's abandoned her office apparently to make room for y'all to recuperate as long as you need. And I can get you back there and we can start to rebuild and work from here. Are you ready to leave now?
Sooner the better.
Yes.
You look around into the empty cavern now, well, empty of the Great One and spirits and Great One's body as you see it across, and a couple of Lashta probably would have brought in a couple of guards to kind of look at it, and seems to be disintegrating at a pretty quick rate. Spirits are gone. You don't even feel any sense of a presence anymore. All the floating images and floating visages of the mages are completely gone as well. And now it's just a cave. The Lashta's crew are starting to clean up and to pull out the bodies to have a proper burial. As John takes you outside the cave, you can see that it's a lot more quiet in the city than it was when you first came in. Sounds of battle have eased. The soldiers, even though taking care of some wounded, are seeming rather good spirits. Maybe even a bit of celebrating, as they know what has happened. And the cycle is over. Now did it? The group followed John into Relask, and you all recuperated for a few days, while the people that they had won to their side and those inspired by your bravery and the courage did what they could to clean up the mess the library and Bastille had made. Some still worshipped the Great One throughout the following years, believing that they would rise again. Eventually, however, it became an old religion, as Queen Anselm had once referred to it. Perhaps her seeing into the future a bit. The temples throughout Dimglimt and Oz and Osbergen eventually faded. Only the temples for the Great One, only texts remain of it, and even those are few and far between. Dimglimt was physically divided, but became more united than ever. Mages flocked there to help rebuild the honor those who had lost their life to create it and to fight for what they believed in, no matter how nearsighted those passions had been. It became a haven for mages and non-mages alike. The ruins at the Northern Crown were discovered and studied, serving like the ruins of the towns that had been dropped outside the Northern Crown, were discovered and studied, serving as inspiration for the newer cities that they were building in Dimglimt. Soon, the population of Dimglimt matched that of Osbergen and its surrounding continents. And Osbergen itself became a monument to the struggle of mages throughout history, revitalized by the battle they had lost for centuries. A new library was built in Osbergen, a real library this time, and its prized possession? The tome that Gazil found with the help of Colum Z. It sat protected, but accessible, so that no one would forget what could have been, and what the Forsaken saved them from. And so, that brings us to what everyone gets up to after. I explained to the players, but they gave me what that they wanted for their characters to do, and I was wanting to make it a little bit more flowery than what it is, but we're going to wing it. So
First Zephyr gets drunk.
Yes. So Venerius.
Winery.
Venerius goes off and starts their own school in Bern, one free of the influence of the library. He coordinates his efforts with as many of his friends with the Forsaken and others as possible. I'm sure many of you will, on your travels, go and visit. He does well. He excels as a headmaster at the school. Now I'm starting to cry. Damn. He excels as a headmaster of the school. It turns out to be one of the best in Osbergen, honestly. And the place that he chooses to build it, to keep it, is in Bern. When he gets there, the mages, or any of you that go to Bern, are greeted with nothing but hospitality. They saw all of you as heroes, even before you beat the Great One, because they knew that you were fighting against the library. In fact, probably when even before Venerius had went there to start building the school, they would have started building a monument dedicated to the Forsaken in the center of the city. No floating city, of course. This is all on land, as floating cities are in the past for Osbergen, thank goodness. On occasion, Venerius would continue his studies and adventure, heading outside of Bern and the school. His simulacrum running the school in his stead. So he would go on different adventures, helping Huey Kid. visiting other magic schools in Osberg and in Dimglint, and helping there. And always ready to aid his party members. Forsaken. Zavar, after defeating the library and the Great One, Zavar would contact Junie in hopes of spending some quality time with her, where he would assume it would be on the water. Once he's had his fill of the salty sea spray, Zavar will journey to Gerbil's home to visit with his family. Maybe even accompanying Gerbil with some adventures in Dimglint as Gerbil and his family look for his son. Once he's eager to get to know him better when not trying to save the world, and he's careful not to overstay his welcome. I'm sure with Gerbil and everyone traveling with him, that probably doesn't happen. When his traveling is done, Zavar returns back to his home, town of Mulgrave, and establishes his own tavern, Bravest of Heroes. Inside, one will find the booths and tables reserved for the bravest of heroes, defeaters of the Great One for Renarius, a table for Juniper, a table for Tegan, for Gazeel, asleep, and of course, for himself. He'll have mugs with each of your names hung in places of honor, denoting that you drink free whenever you come to visit. All patrons will hear that the tavern is often visited by one or more of the heroes and are happy to regale anyone who listens on their tales. Tabards with their names and likenesses are available for purchase. Grand portraits hung in the hall of his friends, drinking in their reserved booth or table. So imagine the restaurants where you see stars sitting at the booths of different restaurants and being like, hi, John Travolta sat here and ate lunch one time. That's what you're seeing. Attached is an amateur boxing arena where the tough youth of the area can safely test their skills, including those that sneak out from the monk's orphanage. While they break some rules, Zavars can still keep them safe while they do. With the profits from Heroes, Zavar will continue to support the monastery of his youth financially. And that monastery does really well. Your efforts are not gone unnoticed. Anytime that you would go back to the monastery, Zavar, sorry. Anytime you would go back to the monastery, Zavar, you of course get a hero's welcome. Even if you don't really prefer it. Juniper. Alive, thanks to your friends. You'd return to Davenport and check in on your friends Cammy and Jackknife that came to the meeting. Offer them a spot on your future ship. You'll find the shipwright who built the Heartstealer and get the schematics for the original ship, for parts of the ship. Are you placing the helm that was given to you on that ship? Okay.
Yes.
She'll have a permanent room at Jackknife's Inn, her home away from home, with instructions left to let anyone who once was a member of the Forsaken to have a free room, board, and ale. Even if it's Zavar, and he drinks Jackknife out of business. She would help us sleep on his journey to find surviving Warforged in the network. She'll use her prestige as a member of the Forsaken, saviors of the world, destroyers of the Great One and the library, and then drop Kazeel's name if that doesn't work, to buy herself a new ship. Her offer is open to any of the Forsaken who wish to accompany her aboard her new ship, which will be called Magic Daddy. She plans to someday recover the wreckage of the rest of her ship. And Blackberry will spend his remaining years sunning his slowly graying fur above deck eating exotic fruits, and keeping Junie and the Warforged company. We also talked about that probably a lot of the Warforged that Juniper and Asleep find would probably want a place to belong. So a few of them would also accompany Juniper on the ship. So she would have a flock of Warforged. Asleep would have a Warforged family as he continues to kind of discover
She's
himself.
not your magic mommy. She's only my magic mommy.
Yes.
She could be your magic auntie.
Listen, yeah.
Asleep wants to hang out with Junie a lot as she does her sailing, and he also wants to do noble things for the good of all. Wherever he can, anywhere that y'all travel to, Layport, Juniper, you'll see Asleep stepping aside, helping those in need throughout town, throughout the ship, doing what he can.
Whether they want it or not.
Right. He'll help. He'll help rebuild things as you go to different places. Hang out with Magic Mommy and help Miki with locating the Warforged in and off the network and helping them regain a sense of self-purpose. Yeah, just doing different things for people. I would say that Sleep's pretty loyal to Juniper throughout the rest of the time that Juniper wants him to be. And
probably when she doesn't.
Yeah. Asleep talking with Miki, you kind of find out that a few Warforged were lost amongst all of the hubbub of the Great One, but you are able to find survivors. Some of them doing better than others, but you are able to help several to kind of discover themselves and to find something to do and to be a purpose for themselves. Definitely. 4 or 5 of them, maybe 6, will join y'all on the Heartstealer, or the new Heartstealer, or no, Magic Daddy, I'm sorry. Join you on Magic Daddy. Just go adventuring with you. As time continues on Asleep, you do kind of realize more parts of yourself, of your past life. And that's part of the reason that you're doing these noble efforts, right? It's because you knew that your decisions in that past life weren't the most noble. But you're making up for that now. There comes a certain time to where you feel like you can make a decision on whether you want to be who you are as Asleep, or if you want to become more of the person that you once were, maybe giving them a second chance. And you don't have to give me that, not an answer you have to make now, but that's something Asleep would kind of come up against, and whatever the decision is, Asleep would make the best of it, I think, especially with Juniper's help and his friends' help as well. Gerbil, even though he didn't participate in the last fight, does go, as I mentioned earlier. Zafar will kind of join up with him a few times, probably Renarius too, to go and
Yay!
to go with his family, his wife and his daughter currently, to find his son. Aqua and Shanad will tag along with them. Not really, Elisa Deer was a home for a while, but Shanad's, definitely has a tie to Gerbil, and Gerbil is like a father to her, really, and is like an extended part of the family. And Aqua treats them that way as well. So they travel throughout Dimglimt, trying to find his son, and eventually do. Staying with the Elvish tribe off to the north, I think it was the northeast part of Dimglimt. They had seen a few hard times during all the struggle, but their son was safe. Gerbil's son was safe, and everyone was reunited. Tegan.
Was never seen again.
Wait a minute.
Oh no.
I
Just
have
Puts up his
have
hood, visibility, and just walks away.
another one as
Right into the
well
sunset.
that I'll
Unless
have
Kazeel
to.
ever makes a move on his sister.
Well, I mean, yes, no, Kazeel did have something. I just, I was like, yeah, 5 stores. That's what I have. No. So, Kazeel, settles down for a while in a polycule with Ingot,
What?
Zatera, and he also reaches out to the bladesmith that he met in Lashta. And they develop a little home just outside one of the larger cities in Osbergen together, all of them. They raise a family, they have children, raise them there. Kazeel also reaches out to the dragon that you met in Maldwich as well,
Of course you would.
sensing a connection to the dragon. Which, I mean, honestly, when I roleplay the dragon, I did roleplay something in there to where she was a little parsnippity with him, you know, if not a little bit flirty. So he reaches out to her, finds out that she does have a human form, whose name is Essa, and strikes up a connection with her. She comes and visits their home, spends some time there. And she does have to leave here and there to go and take care of, you know, to watch over the Maldwich, to keep her promises. But she always comes back and spends time with the family that eventually becomes her own. The bladesmith that Kazeel met in Lashta, he helps her to kind of manage her own shop to grow her business. With Essa's help, the dragon's help, she's able to have things delivered to different towns, different cities, and also to bring materials back pretty easily. So they don't have to travel far. Yeah. They just spend their time there. I'm sure Kazeel would welcome anyone that came by to visit that was from the Forsaken. And he, would use his accrued wealth to kind of help out everyone and to just take care of his family as much as he can. For Tegan, after things have settled down, Tegan would be presented with a new search, a place to call home. Having been moving, hiding, and searching for others, it was time to make roots somewhere. And oddly enough, he chose Bairn to do that in. Probably around the same time that Rhaenyra would be working with the city to build his own school, so I'm sure the two of you would see a lot of each other and would help out when you could.
Mm-hmm.
Helping to rebuild the city as well and setting up shop for his new venture. A detective agency of sorts. Finder of lost things and people. He reaches out to Dredea and Polo to join him on his venture. And they both join. Dredea is enthusiastic to join. Her family was safe. Well, she was able to find a safe place for them amidst all the chaos before. But she's always up for a new adventure. And Polo, he comes and goes here and there. He has a lot of family in different places and, acquaintances. But he finds that Bairn actually suits as a lovely spot, a lovely setting for his novel about vampire mice. He also reached out to Geneva as well. He would also join him eventually. It would take a little bit more time as she wrapped up things on her own. And but of course, missing items and people were just a minor part of the agency's concern. Because Tegan has learned information has a value all of its own. He'd be keeping in touch with Nelian and Relask, occasionally making unannounced visits to his sister Inowyn and Eldrin to check in on them in Relask. Eventually, they move from Relask to different places as Eldrin cannot stop operating in the gray zone. But Inowin, after a bit, once she finds out that Tegan has settled down in Baron, will start writing him and keeping him updated on their whereabouts and what's going on. They seem unexpectedly happy. Tegan would ensure that everyone in the Torchlight Committee stayed in touch, using information briefings as an excuse to get everyone together. Everyone saw through the briefings, of course, but everyone came all the same. Yeah, so after a few months, you'd receive something in the mail from Tegan requesting your attendance to a Torchlight meeting. But you knew. You just want some gossip. And that's where we end the Forsaken.
Yay!
Yay.
Ah, holy crap.
damn dust in my eye.
Madbird says Kazil always brought his back scrubber in case bath time came
God.
up again. That's true. All right.
Fantastic.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So, 21 minutes over. It's fine.
Worth it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
thank you. You know, y'all have been great to play with. I love you all as players. You brought so much to the table. And yeah, good job. Congratulations.
Thank
we did
you.
it! Yay!
Thank you for putting up with our lack of direction, lack of the ability to take direction.
Yeah. All right, friends. Well, I'm going to end the stream here since we're over a bit, and also maybe I can convince these kids to stay for a final after show.
I was going to say, to find out how we really feel, you're going to have to
we
pay for that.
We have to. Thank you so much, viewers, for staying with us. Madbird streams. Thank you as well. You were part of the group for, a couple of times. And yeah, definitely had an investment. So we appreciate you as well. All right. So thank you all. And once I get the OBS pulled up here. Oh, I should have put to RP, but I was too into it. But oh well.
That's alright.
All right, well, wait, I'll do it just for this last few seconds.
Perfect.
There we go. Wonderful. All right. Thank you again. You are the best. Have a good night. One last time from the Forsaken. And I'm sure we'll see you around and other things. All right? Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.